Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Fable Joey, and I am here today to review one of my favorite shows of all time, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I absolutely love this show, so I kind of felt like a scripted video wouldn't be doing it justice. So this is all just kind of coming from the heart. If I'm looking down, it's either because I'm just changing stuff on my laptop or I want to play a song or something, but this isn't scripted. This is coming from the heart. This is one of my favorite shows. It got me back into anime in a place where I was kind of done watching it and I didn't really want to watch anime anymore, and it kind of changed a lot of the ways that I think about certain things just in normal life. I absolutely love the show, and I definitely think I needed to talk about it, and the reason I'm doing it now is because it is finally available on a streaming service, Netflix. Netflix has Evangelion on there, and for a lot of people that's a big deal because no one's really got to see this anime before. So if this is your first time seeing Evangelion and you want a review of it, I guess this is what this is, and I cannot wait to talk about this show. Like I've already said, it's easily in my top 5 or 10 anime of all time, and I mean I always wanted to watch it before because of, I guess, one thing. I mean it was multiple things, but oh yeah, that theme song is probably why I wanted to watch the show. And when I finally did, I loved it. But there's a lot more to it than that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and let's get right in to this Evangelion review. Can we hear a little bit of that sweet, sweet jam? It's a beautiful song. It's probably one of the best anime openings ever made. It's fantastic. All right, well, let's get into everything. I think some smooth jazz will do us good here. Alright, so Neon Genesis Evangelion is an anime. It was developed in the late 90s. Yeah, I didn't look up the year because I'm lazy, but I have always kind of wanted to review this. It's always kind of been in the back of my head as a video idea, but I never knew the right time, and now that it's on Netflix, it kind of just gave me the excuse, hey, go review Evangelion, because a lot of people are going to be watching it, so hopefully this is informative, and this is just my opinion, so if you disagree, you can tell me or whatever, but here's my opinion of the show. I absolutely love it from start to finish. There are a lot of people who hate certain aspects of the show or don't like certain parts of the show, but for me at least, I quite love everything. From episode 1 to episode 26, when it ends, I love the whole show, and there's a lot that is here. So personally, I think Evangelion is one of the anime that can stand to many people. Personally, I think it has something for everyone. I think it's got fantastic characters that you can relate to, characters that go out of character tropes, especially in a mech anime. And although it is a mech anime, I don't really kind of look at it as a mech. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt of one of the mechs, but I don't see it as a mech anime. I see it as like a psychological like anime revolved around these mechs, but it's not like super mech anime like a couple of the other ones you've seen. It mostly focuses on other stuff, and that other stuff is fantastic. I really do believe that Evangelion has something for everyone, whether it's great characters that you get attached to, or you really like that opening theme song, which if you don't, I think you're probably a little bit crazy, but there's always something that you can relate to in this show, at least for me. I think the character development is fantastic. A lot of people hate a lot of characters in the show, and they make fun of them, and they'll look towards a couple characters. I'm looking at you, Shinji, who they just make fun of constantly. I actually really like a lot of the characters in this show. I basically like everyone. There isn't really a character that I could look at that I hate, but I want to talk about the characters because what's an anime without good characters? It's not much. So I wanted to go through some of my favorite characters, and let's just talk about Asuka and Misato, or Katsuragi, whatever you say. These are two of my favorite anime characters of all time. Asuka is just the coolest chick in any anime. She is so awesome. From the second she comes in to the last second she's on screen, she is fantastic. I love the Japanese voice actor that is used. And yeah, and little disclaimer, I haven't seen the Netflix re-release of the whole show, so I don't know what they've changed. I know that they're missing that beautiful ending song for the Netflix version, but other than that, I don't think they changed much. So hopefully the sub voice actor is the same, but I absolutely love the voice actor who does Asuka, and I love her personality. She's unlike a lot of the characters where she should be. A lot of the characters that play her role in other animes, they just don't handle it as well as I believe that Asuka does, and I just absolutely love her character. I think she's feisty, but she like knows how to control herself, and she's really, really talented at going with whatever like anyone tells her to do, but then she can improvise it herself. I really love that about her character. She's easily one of my favorite anime characters ever. I think she's fantastic, but even more so than Asuka, who is already amazing, Misato or Katsuragi, whichever you prefer, is unbelievable. She is without a doubt one of my favorite anime characters of all time. Might honestly be my favorite. I love her character. The arc that she goes throughout the whole show, it doesn't change a ton, but there are elements of it that do change, and when they do, I couldn't have seen them do this a better way with Misato or Katsuragi. Her character is fantastic. She's one of my favorite characters in anything just because she's so relatable. She's in a situation that most people aren't put into, but yet she's very calm under fire, but she also is caring. She's not a cold person. She's super funny. And I love all the scenes that Shinji and Misato get just when they're home, just doing random stuff. And that's why I love Misato, because she has these intense scenes and she always knows what she's doing. She knows how to handle them. But then she's also a really laid-back character who really just wants to protect the kids who are piloting these mechs. And the reason I'm being very vague on plot details is because if you haven't seen the show, then I would never want to spoil anything for you, because I truly believe that it's one of the best shows and one of the best anime of all time, and I definitely think it's something that everyone should experience. So let's get to Shinji. Shinji is the main protagonist, and a lot of people make fun of him just because he's kind of a pansy, which he is, but I actually really like Shinji. And another thing that I love about this anime, like I said, it kind of goes out of these anime tropes. Most of the time in an anime like this, it'll be the pilot's first time piloting a mech like this, and they will just destroy, bumping music comes on, and they get to the beat, and they just destroy whatever enemy they are against. They just easily win. And that's why I love Neon Genesis Evangelion, because even when the characters get control of these mechs, they get beat almost every single time, and I absolutely love that. Like, you expect, because in like one of the very first episodes when Shinji finally starts piloting in Eva, you expect him to get out there and to go find the angels, which is what they're trying to take down, and to just annihilate it. But that's not what happens. You'll see what happens, and I think it's fantastic because they do this a lot. And that's why I love Shinji's character, because he's put in a situation which he doesn't know how to deal with. He doesn't like people that much. He doesn't have a lot of interaction with people, so when he's put in a situation where he needs to cooperate with teammates, and he has a new mom figure in his life in the character of Misato, he doesn't know what to feel, and I absolutely love his character. I think his arc is a little less developed than a couple others, even though he is the main character. I feel like there are certain things that they could have touched on, and maybe some parts of his character are a little rushed, but for the most part, I think that any of us would act the same way that Shinji does in the situation that he's put in. I mean, if we step into Shinji's shoes for a second, I can kind of see why he is this pansy, and he doesn't want to pilot these Evas. He doesn't want to save the world. He just wants to be a kid. And I think that's fantastic that they go with that aspect. And yeah, we've talked about the characters and that amazing theme song, but easily my favorite part of the whole entire show is its descent into madness. From episode 1, I'd say, to about 15, I'd say the show is relatively the same as other Mech-Anime, except for me at least, it's more enjoyable because I love the characters and the art design, which is absolutely beautiful, and the music, which is such a great accompaniment to it. I think it is fantastic, but the descent into madness that the show goes into and the psychological path that the last half takes is easily my favorite part of the show. And this is where a lot of people might turn away from the show. But for me, this is the strongest part. I absolutely love the madness that this goes into. Whether it's the ending theme, which changes, which you won't get to experience that in the Netflix version, but you should definitely look into it, because that alone just shows you what's happening with the show. For the first 15 or so, it's normal. And then after that, it's just this psychological horror, almost. But we're put in this mech setting with these characters who really don't want to be doing what they're doing, or if they do want to be doing, they're not very good at it, or they're having troubles with something else. I absolutely love the psychological path that this last half of the show takes, and it's even more prevalent in the end of Evangelion, the movie, which we will get to another time. But I really love that. I think that the psychological approach, it definitely reflects what the director of the show was going through at that time, but I kind of love that. I kind of love that someone's real problems affected something like this, but then for it to still turn out beautiful. And a lot of people go to the last 4 or 3 episodes of the show, and that's where they say it either falls apart, or they stop losing interest, or maybe they love it, just like me, because these last 3 episodes are insanely psychological, and they really don't make a lot of sense your first time through. I've seen the show 2 times all the way through, and multiple episodes again, but I really was kind of weirded out the first time I saw it, and you probably are too. Seeing like 23, 24, and 25 for the first time, it's really weird, and you're like, what is kind of going on? Like, you're reading the subtitles, but you're not really understanding things. But if you give it a couple more, I think you'll understand what the approach was. And the original ending of Evangelion, or the show's ending, is my favorite Evangelion ending. And I'll talk about the other endings in another video, but I absolutely love the way that this show ends. The psychological horror aspect, or just the psychological aspect of the show, I think is perfect. It fits the characters really well, and I just love the development that we get to see these characters go through. I think it's fantastic. Nearly everything about Neon Genesis Evangelion, at least to me, is pretty flawless. There's a lot of things that a lot of people get mad at. There's a lot of still shots that stay for way longer than they need to be, and whether that was for production issues or budget issues, or maybe it was just the director's style, I love it because it feels different from anything that I had ever seen before. Like I said, I saw this anime in a place where I wasn't really too fond of anime, even though I had been in the past, but it really rekindled my passion for anime and just anime that I love. I absolutely love the characters in the show. I think the artwork is brilliant. For the year that it came out, I still think it's probably the most beautiful anime that we've ever seen. I absolutely love Neon Genesis Evangelion. I love the characters and the arcs that they go through, and I love how the show dips into this psychological aspect. And I mean, yeah, this isn't scripted at all, so this is just kind of things that I'm coming up with, but I wanted to give you guys, before I end the video, at least a couple of my favorite episodes, maybe to look forward to if you haven't seen it, or you could be like, oh yeah, I like that episode, or you completely disagree with me, which is fine. But my favorite episodes of this show, and I'll name a couple. I love the first 2. I think they're a fantastic introduction to the series, and they're really fun. I really love those episodes. But where it started, like, because everything's really great, but where it started getting amazing for me is when Asuka comes in, which is episode 8, and that is really where it starts going. And it gets so fun. The show is so fun to watch. I think it's absolutely incredible. And 9. Episode 9 is one of my favorite episodes in any anime ever. It's so fun. The animation is brilliant, and the music is breathtaking, and I can't wait. If you haven't seen it, I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's definitely my favorite episode of the whole entire show, 9, and I just think it's a lot of fun, and a lot of people are going to enjoy it. The interaction between Asuka and Shinji is definitely my favorite that they have throughout the series. I think it's fantastic, and I love that episode. And then everything from there on, I'd say 10 to 15, is unbelievable. I love everything from 8 onwards. I love the beginning of the show, but really 8 onwards is fantastic. And where I feel it starts getting psychological is around maybe the 17th episode or 16th episode. You can feel it. You can feel it in the episodes. You can feel it in the characters. They just seem a lot more down, and you can see that reflected, especially in the end of Evangelion. But this is really kind of what I love about the show. Like I said, this descent into madness starts at around 17 and goes on from there. Episode 18 is fantastic. It's a lot of people's favorite episodes. It's one of mine as well. I think it's great. And I also really love episode 24. Even though it's probably the most psychological aside from the last episode, I absolutely love episode 24, 25, and 26. Like I said, the original ending of the show is my favorite ending, and I absolutely love the way that they chose to take the characters down these paths. I love the artwork in these last episodes, even though it looks like it was on a much lower budget than the rest of the whole show. I kind of like that, and I kind of think it was needed for that. And even though this wasn't scripted or anything, I felt like I got most of what I wanted to say, and the reason I was vague about the plot details is because I want people to see this for the first time without knowing anything and really enjoying it, or if you're coming here after, you already know what happens, but I just feel like talking about the plot too much would be a disservice to the people who haven't seen it. So get out there and go see it. It's on Netflix now, okay? You have nothing to lose unless you don't have Netflix, but I find it some website or something illegal or legal. I'm just kidding. Don't do an illegal website, or do if you have to. But really, I think this is a show that every anime fan should watch at one point because, I mean, let's be honest, I think we've all heard this song multiple times through our anime career or whatever, our anime path, and it's still just as good, even though I've heard it like 100 times. I listen to this in a car at least like once a week, bumping, because it's just the best. But anyway, what I really wanted to say here is Evangelion is, in my opinion, one of the best anime ever made. The character development is some of the best I've ever seen in a TV show or just a form of entertainment in general. I absolutely love everything about this anime. I think it's unbelievable, and if you haven't seen it, you should go give it a try. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It, like I said, it rekindled the flame, the passion that I had for anime, and it got me to find out all these fantastic shows in the future. It's really left an impact on me. It, especially the last 3 episodes, kind of changed the way I see a lot of things in my daily life. They're very psychological, but I think they're also really informative, and I love the way that this show ends. A lot of people are going to be confused. A lot of people might hate it, but for me, I really love it. I'm going to give Neon Genesis Evangelion an A+. It certainly deserves my highest grade. I have such a love for this show, and I don't think that's ever going to change. And I am going to watch Netflix re-release, so hopefully they didn't change too much. I heard that they got a new cast for the dub, so if you've already seen it, you can comment down below what you think of the new dubbed cast. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. Sorry if I messed up speech-wise. I mean, I didn't do anything script-wise for this video. I just turned on the camera and I wanted to talk about one of my favorite shows, and hopefully I did that. So once again, if you haven't seen Evangelion, go now. I don't care if you don't like anime. I'm just kidding. You probably won't like it if you don't like anime, but I think you should still give it a try. Like I said, the descent into madness is my favorite part of the show by far, and that opening, because it's unbelievable. But I really think this is a show that every anime fan should watch at least once, and the end of Evangelion is a lot of people's favorite movies ever, and it's a lot of people's least favorite movies ever, or at least that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So I can't wait to review that either, because that might be a kind of controversial review. As for this, it's on Netflix. Go. It's incredible. If you haven't seen Evangelion, go. If you have, comment down below what you think of the show. I think it's unbelievable. It's definitely one of my favorite shows ever, and I think a lot of people are really going to like it. I love everything about it. Definitely deserves that highest grade, and thank you guys for watching. If you stuck this far with the video, then I really appreciate it, and I guess I'll see you guys next time.